In the spring of 1933, a remote island on the Ob River became the stage for one of the darkest chapters in Stalin's Soviet Union. This is the story of Nazino Island, a place where more than 4,000 people would die in just a few weeks, abandoned in a failed experiment that revealed the true human cost of Stalinist policy. At the time, the Soviet Union was in the grip of collectivization and mass industrialization. Cities were flooded with displaced peasants fleeing famine, along with petty criminals, the homeless, and those labeled as social parasites. Stalin's government wanted them gone. To cleanse urban centers, the regime devised a plan: deport these so-called undesirables to distant, uninhabited territories where they would supposedly build new settlements and become productive Soviet citizens. In May of that year, nearly 6,000 men and women were herded onto trains and sent deep into Siberia. They were told they were being resettled and given land, tools, and a chance to start over. But the reality awaiting them on Nazino Island was nothing short of a nightmare. The island was little more than a swampy strip of land, 3 kilometers long and less than a kilometer wide, with no shelter, no tools, and no preparations for their arrival. For the first 4 days, the deportees received no food at all. When supplies finally came, they consisted of raw flour, 20 tons of it, with nothing to cook it in. People mixed the flour with river water and drank it, leading to mass outbreaks of dysentery. As hunger worsened, desperation set in. The guards, armed with rifles and whips, maintained control through violence, but even they could not stop what came next. Eyewitnesses described chaos on the island: theft, brutality, and the total collapse of any social order. As starvation deepened, survivors later recounted acts of cannibalism. Some cut flesh from the dead, others preyed on the living. Official Soviet reports would later confirm dozens of cases, though the true number will never be known. By June, less than 2 months after the deportees' arrival, more than 4,000 were dead or missing. Many of the survivors were relocated to labor camps, a death sentence in itself. The Nazino experiment was quietly buried in Soviet archives. For decades, the story was suppressed. It wasn't until the late 1980s, during Glasnost, that the truth began to emerge. Investigative reports and survivor testimonies revealed the full scope of the tragedy. In 2002, nearly 70 years later, a simple wooden cross was erected on the island in memory of those who perished. Nazino Island was more than a logistical failure. It was a deliberate act of dehumanization, a policy that treated people as expendable, their lives reduced to numbers in a grand ideological experiment. It is a stark reminder of what happens when a government abandons humanity in the pursuit of control. The island today is quiet, overgrown, uninhabited, but its silence carries an echo of those desperate days in 1933. For the thousands who suffered and died there, justice never came. For us, the lesson is clear. When human dignity is sacrificed to ideology, atrocity follows. Nazino Island is a warning, one we cannot afford to forget.